Yesterday. Okay, y'all. Yeah, we got it.
All right, y'all. I said when Joe finally pops up on Poor Minds, I tune in. And I've got to say, no surprise at all, they really had a moment. It was a solid interview, and honestly, they touched on every angle. Everything from money and business, real-life conversations, the JBP dynamic, spicy topics, and of course, the messy stuff. You know, people are always going to throw Joe a question or two. They even brought up the undercover women listeners, the ladies who tune in quietly to the podcast. And as a woman who listens to myself, I didn't know it was really a whole thing like that. I do remember when Joe wasn't being viewed too positively back in the love and hip-hop era, and he even addressed that. I get it. The JBP has always leaned heavily male, from the hosts to the audience. I'm sure there are way more guys than women watching, but trust me, plenty of women watch, which is exactly why I launched this channel to begin with. A lot of us are locked in week after week, just like the dudes. His explanation made perfect sense to me, basically saying it all depends on which version of Joe someone met first or which moment shaped their opinion of him. Overall, I think Joe handled every question smoothly and respectfully, and he even playfully clowned Lex over the whole slow walk entrance with the dog at the party.
Be Mona on the couch with Melissa still there.
If you're asking me to draw, yeah.
Okay. I didn't know that. Because, on the outside, because I'm one of them girls. I'll be turning on the podcast.
Naturally, they also got into the chemistry on the pod, and the ladies genuinely seemed to vibe with the new Philly additions, Mark and Mona. Joe handled all of that smoothly. Same with the Rolling Stone interview, which I'll get into in a bit too. With Joe doing his end-of-year run across so many platforms, I'm hoping the Mel and Mona questions finally start to fade out, because it really feels like everyone involved is moving on in their own lanes regardless. And since Joe is answering those same questions everywhere he appears, maybe by next year the Mel topic will finally rest. Let people live and do what they're doing. It's dragged on long enough. I'm rooting for everybody to flourish and just keep things pushing. They also kept the whole episode balanced. They knocked out the serious topics first and then loosened up for some laughs.
Hey!
What was that other song? Remember when Shantae told her friends?
Shantae's got a man.
And she said,
right.
I'm sorry.
She said she couldn't help laughing at Joe when the ladies hit their ad segment and all three of them started singing. And you know how Joe is. That's his lane. He's an R&B guy at heart, as he said, and he was really up there hitting notes. They also showed Joe a lot of love throughout the episode, which was nice to see. Speaking of giving flowers, can we get into the Rolling Stone interview for a second? I watched it last night while I was making dinner, and honestly, it was excellent. Nothing about it felt stiff. The interviewer, Jeff Ahaza, really did a fantastic job. This is exactly how interviews are supposed to feel. Someone from the culture talking to someone in the culture who actually understands what's going on. Everything felt natural and honest. If you're a JBP watcher, a lot of the stories Joe mentioned were things he's touched on before, but this time they were expanded more deeply. I appreciated how he spoke about the whole cast individually. There were no telephone voices, and y'all know what I mean by that. No fakeness. It was a genuinely real conversation. When Joe started reminiscing about the music era, the Napster days, the Dat Piff era, it took me all the way back. I remember my dad installing Napster on the family computer and me burning my very first CD. I instantly remember living on Dat Piff, downloading mixtapes, back when Trey Songz and Chris Brown were really rapping. If you know, you know. And don't even get me started on MySpace. We were all low-key coders. If you had a good customized page, you were basically a programmer. My pages, elite, absolute top tier. But anyway, I say all that to say the interview was truly a great sit-down. They even touched on a potential JBP movie, a documentary, and honestly, I can see it. So many directions they can go. What a strong way to wrap up the year. Seriously, it's a perfect closing note. Shout out to the whole team. I always say, if I can hop on here and talk about the drama and the mess, then I can absolutely highlight the good and give praise too. Do I call out nonsense? Of course. But I also make sure to acknowledge the positive moves, and this video is all about that. Did y'all watch the Rolling Stone interview or the Poor Minds one? Because the Patreonics were deep in those Rolling Stone comments. Oh my gosh, that is a real community. If you enjoyed the content, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And one more thing, I have a hype button now. Smash that when you see it. Gas me up like that tall dude on Instagram. Y'all know exactly who I mean. All right, y'all. Until next time. Bye.